Have you ever wondered why someone who claims to like you never makes the effort to reach out first? Why is it that you are always the one to send the first message, the first a good morning, the first a how are you? Why is it that if you stopped initiating, the conversation would completely die? Pause for a second and think, what would actually happen if you didn't text her for a day? 2 days? A week? Would she notice? Would she care? Or would she simply move on with her life as if you never existed? This is not just a small detail. This is not something to brush aside as if it doesn't matter. No, my friend, this is the foundation of how relationships either grow or collapse. And that foundation is called effort. Let me take you into the depth of this first key, understanding the power of effort. You see, relationships, whether romantic or otherwise, are like a dance. One step from you, one step from them, one gesture from you, one gesture from them. That rhythm, that back and forth, is what creates balance, attraction, and long-term connection. But what happens when only one person is dancing? When you are moving, initiating, reaching out, and the other person simply stands still? The truth is simple. The dance collapses, the connection weakens, the bond becomes one-sided. Here's what most people fail to recognize. Effort is never about the action itself, it's about what the action represents. When someone takes time out of their busy day to check in on you, it shows you matter. When they send the first text, it shows you are in their thoughts. When they initiate plans, it shows they value your presence in their life. If she never texts you first, the problem is not the lack of messages, it's the lack of meaning. It's the absence of priority. Now let me ask you this, why do we ignore this? Why do so many people convince themselves that maybe she's just shy? Or maybe she's just not a texting person? Or maybe she's busy? Why do we bend reality just to avoid facing the truth? Because the truth is painful. The truth is that if someone truly wants to talk to you, they will find a way. No matter how busy they are, no matter how tired they feel, no matter how many things are happening in their life, if you are important to them, they will make the effort. A single text takes 10 seconds. If she never sends it, it's not about time, it's about priority. That is the harsh reality. And the sooner you accept it, the sooner you save yourself from emotional exhaustion. Let me share something powerful with you. More effort never creates more love. This is the mistake people keep making. They think if I text her more, if I prove my loyalty, if I show how much I care, she will eventually realize my worth. But here's the paradox. Over effort actually decreases your value. The more you push, the more they pull away. The more you chase, the faster they run. Why? Because when effort is unbalanced, attraction dies. No one values what is always available. No one treasures what they didn't have to work for. Human psychology is wired to appreciate what requires effort, not what is given on a silver platter. So if you are always the one texting first, planning the meetups, keeping the connection alive, what happens? You become predictable. You become ordinary. You become background noise in her life. And she, consciously or unconsciously, begins to take you for granted. Here's the hard pill to swallow. Love cannot survive on one-sided effort. Interest cannot survive when only one person is carrying the weight of connection. It's like trying to row a boat with just one oar. You'll go in circles, but you will never reach your destination. So what should you do? The first step is to stop ignoring the signs. Too many people stay in denial. They tell themselves stories, excuses, reasons that sound comforting but keep them Or she's busy, or she's not good at texting, if she prefers calls, but deep down you know the truth. If she wanted to, she would, period. And when you accept that truth, you take back your power. Now let me give you a perspective shift. Imagine 2 scenarios. In the first, you continue texting her first every single time. Weeks pass, months pass, the pattern continues. You initiate, she responds, and nothing changes. Slowly, you start feeling drained. You begin doubting yourself. Am I not enough? Why doesn't she care the way I do? And with every unanswered expectation, your self-esteem shrinks. In the second scenario, you recognize the imbalance. You take a step back. You stop initiating. Days pass and silence speaks louder than words. She doesn't reach out. At first, it stings. But then clarity sets in. You realize she was never invested to begin with. And instead of wasting months or years trying to prove your worth, you free yourself. You walk away with dignity intact and you open your heart for someone who will gladly meet your effort with effort. Which scenario do you want to live? Remember this, effort is the currency of love. It's not about expensive gifts, grand gestures, or poetic words. It's about consistency. It's about showing up. It's about proving day after day that the other person matters. I have an expensive gift. And if she cannot give you that currency, then the relationship is bankrupt before it even begins. But here's the beauty. When you understand this principle, you stop wasting time. You stop investing in people who drain you. You stop begging for effort and you start demanding mutual respect. Because let me tell you this, the right person will not make you beg for attention. They will not leave you wondering. They will not let days go by without checking in. Why? Because when someone truly cares, effort is effortless. So the next time you find yourself staring at your phone, wondering why she hasn't texted you, don't fall into the trap of excuses. Don't convince yourself to keep carrying the relationship on your shoulders. Pause, step back, watch what happens. If she makes the effort, then you know she values you. If she doesn't, then you know she doesn't. It's as simple as that. And once you internalize this truth, you will never chase the wrong person again. You will never lower your standards again. You will never forget the power of effort again. Because at the end of the day, love is not proven by words. It is proven by actions. And the smallest action, like sending the first text, speaks volumes about how much someone truly cares. So understand this lesson deeply. If she never texts you first, it's not about the text. It's about the effort. And effort tells you everything you need to know. There comes a moment in every relationship when you have to stop and ask yourself a difficult question. Am I chasing this person, or am I being valued by them? Most people don't even realize when they cross that invisible line from genuine effort into desperate pursuit. It happens slowly. At first, you just want to show interest. You text first, you initiate the conversations, you ask about their day, you do it out of care. But as time passes, you begin to notice something troubling. They never do the same. They reply yes. They even engage sometimes, but they never initiate. And yet, you keep going because somewhere inside you believe that if you just try a little harder, if you just show a little more care, eventually they will recognize your worth and give you the same energy back. That belief is what keeps you trapped. The truth is, every time you chase someone who isn't chasing you, you are silently telling them that your time and attention are cheap. You are telling them that you will always be available no matter how little they invest in return. And people notice that. They may not say it, but deep down, they begin to categorize you as someone who will always come second. They know you will never walk away, and once they know that, they no longer feel urgency to put in effort. They no longer feel the need to fight for you because you've already shown them that they don't have to. That's how self-respect is lost. Not all at once, but piece by piece, in every unanswered call, in every ignored message, in every moment where you gave more than you received. When you respect yourself, you create boundaries. You let people know what is acceptable and what is not. And the most powerful boundary you can set in a relationship is this: I will not chase you if you don't chase me. I will not keep running after someone who cannot even take a single step in my direction. This is not pride, it's dignity. It is protecting your heart from being trampled by someone who doesn't know its worth. Think about it. Why is it that the people we chase often value us less? It's not because we are less valuable, it's because our actions communicate that we don't value ourselves enough. And people mirror the way we treat ourselves. If your attention is disposable, they will treat it that way. If you act as if your presence is guaranteed no matter what, they will stop appreciating it. But if you carry yourself as someone whose energy is rare and precious, they will think twice before taking you for granted. So what should you do if she never texts you first? You stop for a while. You give silence instead of effort. You give space instead of chasing. You let her reveal her true intentions through her actions, because silence has a way of exposing the truth that words often hide. If she values you, she will notice your absence. She will reach out, she will realize the pattern has changed, and she will adjust. But if she doesn't, then her silence is the loudest answer you could ever receive. The hardest part is enduring that silence. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like rejection. It feels like loss. But in reality, it is freedom. It is your soul pulling you away from a place where you are not honored. It is life teaching you that love should never require begging. And once you endure that silence, you will feel something powerful. You will feel your self-respect returning. You will stand taller. You will no longer wake up wondering why you aren't enough, because you will realize it was never about you not being enough. It was about you giving your everything to someone who didn't know how to appreciate it. Respect is not given, it is earned. And the way you earn respect in a relationship is by refusing to lower your standards. You refuse to be the one who keeps a connection alive while the other person does nothing. You refuse to accept crumbs of attention when you know you deserve consistency and effort. You refuse to allow yourself to become a backup option while you treat them as a priority. That refusal is what sets you free. People often confuse chasing with love. They think persistence proves loyalty. They think never giving up shows commitment. But there's a difference between fighting for someone who values you and begging for someone who doesn't. One is strength, the other is weakness. One leads to deeper connection, the other leads to humiliation. If she never texts you first and you continue chasing, you're not proving your lack of boundaries. And that never ends well. So stop chasing. Let her come to you. Let her come to you. Let her prove through action that she cares. And if she doesn't, accept that truth with grace. Do not try to force someone to see your value. Do not try to argue for your worth. Do not try to convince anyone to make an effort for you, because the person who truly deserves you will never need convincing. They will show you without hesitation that you matter. When you stop chasing and start valuing yourself, something incredible happens. Your energy changes. You no longer feel desperate for attention. You no longer set off a half-hearted effort. And that shift makes you more attractive, not less. Because self-respect is magnetic. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with dignity. People notice when you are not afraid to walk away. And suddenly you stop attracting people who want to use you, and you start attracting people who want to cherish you. So the next time you catch yourself typing the first message for the 100th time, stop and ask yourself, am I doing this because I'm valued, or because I'm afraid of losing someone who never cared to begin with? If the answer is the latter, then it's time to pull back. It's time to reclaim your power. It's time to show yourself the same love and attention you keep begging from others. Because the moment you stop chasing is the moment you start being respected. And the person who truly belongs in your life will never let you feel like you're the only one trying. They will meet your effort with effort, your care with care, your love with love. Anything less is not love. It's dependency. And you deserve more than that. There comes a point when you realize that the energy you've been pouring into waiting for her text, waiting for her call, waiting for some sign of effort, has left you drained. You check your phone over and over again, hoping to see her name appear on the screen, and when it doesn't, you feel that heaviness in your chest. But have you ever stopped to think about how much of your life you're wasting in that waiting? How many opportunities you're missing because your focus is consumed by someone who isn't even thinking about you? That right there is the trap. And the only way to escape isn't to shift your focus entirely from her to yourself. When you make someone else the center of your world, you lose yourself. Every moment becomes about them. Every thought circles back to them. Every decision is influenced by how they might react. And in that process, you stop growing. You stop building your life. You stop becoming the person you were meant to be. That is the most dangerous cost of chasing someone who doesn't reciprocate. You don't just lose them, you lose yourself. The truth is, your happiness should never depend on whether or not one person acknowledges you. Your worth is not defined by a text message, by a call, or by someone else's inconsistent attention. Your worth is already there, rooted in who you are, in what you bring to the world, in the vision and goals that live inside of you. The problem is, you've forgotten that. You've placed all your energy into seeking validation from her, instead of building validation within yourself. And until you change that focus, you will continue to feel small every time she ignores you. Imagine what would happen if you took all that energy you spend waiting on her and redirected it into yourself. The time you waste staring at your phone, what if you spent it at the gym, strengthening your body, building discipline? The hours you spend overthinking her silence, what if you invested those hours into learning a new skill, into reading books that sharpen your mind, into building a business, into developing your career? The energy you pour into wondering why she doesn't value you, what if you poured it into deepening your faith, connecting with your purpose, or nurturing friendships with people who truly care? The shift is simple but life-changing. The more you invest in yourself, the less you crave attention from those who don't deserve you, because growth is magnetic. When you're focused on your goals, when you're building yourself up, when you're creating a life you're proud of, you stop chasing people. Instead, people start chasing you. That's not arrogance. It's reality. People are drawn to energy that is self-sustained, not desperate for approval. Think about the times in your life when you felt most confident. It wasn't when someone finally texted you back. It was when you achieved something meaningful for yourself. Maybe it was when you finished a project you thought was impossible. Maybe it was when you saw your hard work pay off in your career. Maybe it was when you looked in the mirror and finally felt proud of the discipline you built in your body or mind. Those moments of growth, those victories you earn, fill you with a kind of confidence no outside validation can match. And that confidence is the antidote to the pain of being overlooked. You see, the real problem is not that she never texts you first. The real problem is that you've made her silence louder than your own potential. You've allowed her lack of effort to distract you from everything you could be becoming. And once you understand that, you'll see how much of your life is waiting to be lived once you stop waiting for her. It's not about ignoring relationships, it's about balance. When you shift your focus to your growth, you create a life so full that you don't have time to obsess over who didn't text you. You're too busy chasing your purpose, too busy building your empire, too busy becoming the best version of yourself. And from that place, relationships become healthier too, because you no longer come from a place of neediness. You no longer beg for attention. You simply attract people who see your light and want to be a part of it. And here's a truth few people realize. Attention that isn't freely given is worthless. If you have to beg for it, it will never satisfy you. But when you are so focused on growth that you don't even notice who isn't texting, you naturally attract the kind of people who text because they genuinely want to, not because you force them. And those are the only connections worth having. So the next time you find yourself tempted to check your phone for the 100th time, pause. Ask yourself, what could I be building right now? What could I be improving in myself? How could I be using this energy to elevate my life instead of wasting it on someone else's absence? That is the question that will change everything. When you stop waiting and start building, something shifts inside you. Your confidence grows, your energy changes, and the people around you feel it. Some will step up because they don't want to lose someone who is clearly rising. Others will fall away because they were never meant to come with you to the next level. Either way, you win, because your life is no longer dependent on whether one person values you. It is driven by whether you value yourself enough to grow. So shift your focus from her silence to your strength, from her absence to your ambition, from her indifference to your identity. Because at the end of the day, the only person who can stop you from becoming the best version of yourself is you. And when you finally start pouring your energy into your own growth, you'll realize that the attention you were begging for was never worth it. What's worth it is the life you're building, the person you're becoming, and the future you're creating. That is where your focus belongs. There is a moment in every one-sided relationship where you are forced to face the truth you've been running from. You replay every conversation in your head. You look for signs. You try to convince yourself that maybe she cares, but just doesn't show it the way you expect. But deep down, you know because the effort has always been yours. You know because silence follows whenever you stop initiating. You know because your heart feels heavier with each day you spend waiting for something that never comes. And that is the point where the bravest decision you will ever make must be made, the decision to walk away. Walking away is not about pride, nor is it about proving a point. It is about self-preservation. It is about understanding that staying in a place where you are constantly undervalued is slowly destroying. You can try to hold on tighter. You can try to rationalize her indifference. You can even convince yourself that maybe one day things will change. But the reality is people don't suddenly wake up and treat you differently after months or years of neglect. If she never puts in the effort now, she won't put it in later. And every day you stay, you teach her that it is acceptable to give you less than you deserve. The hardest part of walking away is the fear of being alone, fear of letting go of the comfort you've built around her presence, even if it was shallow and inconsistent, fear of starting over. But what most people don't realize is that staying is far lonelier than leaving. There is no greater loneliness than being with someone who makes you feel invisible. There is no greater emptiness than being around someone who doesn't care enough to reach out. The silence of being alone is far kinder than the silence of being ignored. When you decide to walk away, you reclaim your dignity. You send a message, not to her, but to yourself. You say, I will not beg for love. I will not stay where I am tolerated instead of celebrated. I will not compromise my worth to hold on to someone who cannot see it. It lifts the weight you've been carrying and it opens the door to something better, even if you can't see it yet. People think walking away is an act of loss, but in truth, it is an act of gain. You gain clarity because you no longer waste energy on someone who isn't invested. You gain freedom because you're no longer chained to your phone, waiting for a text that will never come. You gain self-respect because you prove to yourself that you are strong enough to leave what doesn't serve you. And most importantly, you gain space for someone new, someone genuine, someone who will never make you question if you matter. Ask yourself, what kind of love do you really want? Do you want a love that keeps you restless, insecure, and constantly trying to prove yourself? Or do you want a love that brings peace, where effort flows naturally, where both of you are equally invested? If the answer is the second, then walking away is the only way to make room for it. Because as long as you hold on to the wrong person, the right one will never have space to enter. Yes, walking away hurts. It tears you apart in the moment. But that pain is temporary. What truly destroys you is staying. Staying slowly chips away at your self-esteem, your confidence, your joy. Staying convinces you that love is supposed to feel like begging when it never should. Staying makes you forget that you deserve reciprocity. The pain of leaving is sharp but brief. The pain of staying is dull but endless. And here is the truth, you are not losing anything by walking away from someone who never valued you. You are only losing the illusion you created in your mind. The version of her you built in your imagination. The fantasy of what it could have been if she cared as much as you did. That's what you're letting go of. The reality is, she never gave you what you needed and she likely never would. Walking away simply aligns you with reality, and reality will always set you free. So if you ever find yourself hesitating, wondering if you should keep trying or finally step away, remember this: love that requires constant chasing is not love. Effort that flows only in one direction is not effort. It's manipulation, it's dependence, it's settling for less than you deserve. Walking away is not defeat. It is saying to yourself, I am worth more than unanswered texts and one-sided effort. And when you walk away, you don't walk into emptiness. You walk into possibility. You open the door to growth, to peace, to relationships built on mutual care. You open the door to a future where you no longer question your value because the people in your life reflect it back to you every day. That is the life you deserve. So the next time you find yourself staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes, let that be your reminder. You don't need to wait. You don't need to chase. You don't need to explain your worth to someone who cannot see it. You need only the strength to walk away. And the moment you do, you will feel lighter. You will feel stronger. You will feel free. Because true strength is not in holding on. It is in knowing when it's time to let go.